For more on the markets, let's bring in Andrew Slimmon. He is senior portfolio manager at Morgan Stanley Investment Management. I'm trying to figure out what you're feeling. You think that hedge funds are underweight equities, and there seems to be sort of an underlying bid, but you expect another drawdown. I mean, the S&P's at 59.35. We're in spitting distance of an all-time high. Are you bullish or bearish?
Well, my base case for the year has been it's a pause year. We've had 2 great years in a row, and the market needs kind of a timeout, a breather. And if I work backwards, Joe, from the end of the year, it's tough to see the market substantially above 6,000, and at 5,900, that's not a lot of upside. And I've learned that the market doesn't just go creep along slowly; it deviates around that central norm. So somewhere along the way, we're going to get another drawdown. I suspect it'll be later in the summer. But I will tell you this, Joe, I'm always very intrigued when the actual data diverges significantly from what is projected by the supposed experts to come. And the actual data, the earnings came in strong in the first quarter. They beat by $3.50 versus consensus, but the full year number is down $10 because it's bad is yet to come. And this does remind me a little bit of COVID, which was, analysts ended up being way too negative on earnings for 2020, 2021. I suspect that will be the same case. So I do think we'll get a rally into the end of the year as analysts are forced to kind of raise their numbers, chase the numbers. But in the meantime, I wouldn't be surprised if, not much happens to the market between now and fourth quarter.
Well, you say that you're still, this is the same bull market from 3 years ago. So we're in the third year of a bull market. Okay. And that can be not as good as, I guess, the first 2 years.
Correct.
You think that there might be some in the second quarter that earnings will not be as strong, and that's when the sell-off begins from levels about where we are right now. So we get stuck where we are here at 6,000, then go back to what? Some of the lows that we saw a couple months ago?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I would be surprised if we go down to that level only because earnings now have come in stronger. I think second quarter earnings are going to surprise again on the upside. But again, I know we all search for how it's going to happen, but the reality is I just think that there's not enough upside for the year. It will cause a lot of these people that were pessimistic the last 2 years that have been forced to turn optimistic. They'll go back to being pessimistic. I think it's going to be a healthy year to root out a little bit too much optimism we had at the beginning of the year. And I just know that you can't have a market just creep slowly higher. It is volatile around that case. You tell me what it will be. I just think you're going to have more volatility. Could we see a low again? I would be surprised, but 10% drawdowns happen, and that it happened last summer. It can happen again. 6,000
is the upper end of your range for the rest of the year, and you think we could be somewhere 5,200 on the S&P would be the worst case scenario. You have a $6,000 price target on the S&P. That sounds like what you're saying by the end of the year.
Well, I'm not I'm a portfolio manager.
If you had to be one, I know what you aren't, but if you,
what I'm more interested in, Joe, is all these companies that beat in the first quarter and their numbers went down, right? Because it's about to get bad. It's about to get bad.
If we end at 6,800, I'm going to say you were dead wrong. So you don't have to say, give me a target. But
Joe, maybe you should make fun of the people that were dead wrong in the last 2 years. I
have. None of them were. But this is eerily similar to other times where it's really hated by the market is hated by most people. They have a lot of reasons why it's not going to go any further, and a lot of times it seems to.
This reminds me of COVID.
Well, then it would be going higher, and you're not saying you're getting it both ways. It reminds you of COVID, but you don't think we're going higher.
Well, yes, except the difference is, Joe, the market. Why is it, if earnings estimates have come down so much for the year, how come the market's almost at an all-time high? The stock market is telling you it doesn't believe what Wall Street is projecting.
That sounds like it doesn't believe you.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right.